Stan, so you got the depth chart out there. The first thing I just saw, noticed a little change. Trey Thomas now, kind of, I don't. Maybe it's not a change. Maybe it's just a change how it's listed. Trey Thomas was a defensive end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's he bring there? You got him maybe and Leighton on the other side. And
Yeah, just trying to find a way to get our best 11 on the field, and he's definitely one of those guys. So, we have to shuffle the deck around a little bit, and, I think he's going to do just fine at that position. The type of player he is, the type of mindset he has, he'll be just fine.
you have to get a little, I don't know, bigger to do that.
That ain't happening right now. We're about to, kick off against Akron, and those guys' bodies are probably where they are, for the remainder of the season, and we're gonna have to ask guys to play big in spots. They may be lacking in some size here and there, but hey, we're gonna figure it out and put our best foot forward and do the best we can with what we have.
You starting those three big fellows on the line there, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that? I don't know. It's similar dynamic to last year, but what do those three guys do up front to kind of get the defense?
I think Quay is a much better player. I think although he played at a really high level a year ago, I think there is some improvement to his game that has taken place since Larry Knight's been here. The addition of Alan Hay, bringing a 300-pound, body that sets up in the middle of your defense is always a pleasure. A guy that's twitchy at 300 and something pounds and something even more advantageous for us. So, no, we feel like we got a good solid three guys. We know moving forward that guys are going to have to grow with the season as we move on. People like Colin Green and Jamar Grove and Teray, those guys have to just kind of grow with the season and provide some depth for us. As where we stand with those top three guys, I feel like we can win ball games with those guys for sure.
Staying on the topic of the defensive line, Demaric posted a picture on his IG story, I believe, of him at the hospital the other day. Is he okay? And if he isn't, does that affect, your defensive line?
We're hoping he's okay. We'll find out more, once the doctors get a real good, firm look at what's going on. But does it hurt? Absolutely, it hurts.
How do you see the running back rotation? How many guys would you like to work in? And you feel like Edwards going to be kind of your, going to be a guy that can carry 15, 20 times?
No, I think in every game you got to have three guys ready to go. I just think that to sit there nowadays and say that you got one guy that's going to carry the load, you're not really preparing yourself for the duration of the season. So we have to develop guys as they go, and that's going to be the case for all positions for the most part. We've got some young talent in spots that are going to have to grow with the season. We have 4 games that they can play without burning the red shirt, and they all need to be expected to play. And they should never have the mindset of being a red shirt anyway, because you just never know when their number's going to be called. So all that being said, we need to get 3 to 4 running backs ready to go every single week. Yeah.
In your mind, I'm sure when you were going for that Duke game last year, you felt like the team was ready, and boy, they didn't necessarily all look ready that first game. Is your feel for the readiness for this game, how dramatically different is that than it was last year?
Yeah, I didn't know how. I don't know what I declared how I felt going into that Duke game, but I do feel better going into, Akron in year 2 than I did going against Duke year 1. Just you have a firmer sense of the guys who were on the team a year ago still on the team. We know their personalities. We've been to war with some of those guys, and I know how they're going to react when adversity hits. And then there's the other 50 guys on the football team that I don't. So to sit here and say that, I feel great about what the end result's going to be. I'm going to have fun and I'm going to enjoy this. That's why we coach. This is kind of the having the angst and through preparation, not knowing what to expect, but putting a certain level of investment out there on the field with your football team every single day. And I'm excited to see how they're going to, cash in on their investment. They've been working their butts off, and we've stacked some really good days of practicing this fall camp, and we've identified who we are in a lot of respects, and identified, guys that are going to help us play and win some football games this year. But we have to go and play, and I'll know a little bit more about how I feel about things, as we get into the rhythm of the game. But I'm just excited about how we've worked to this point, and I know that we've spent a lot of time trying to get closer as a football team. So those are the things I'm excited about.
What would
Just
you
got to get them game tested.
What would you say is the biggest difference from last year's team to this year's team, just in terms of what the vibe? We've heard a lot of guys say oh, the vibe is different. What do you think is the biggest takeaway from just last year one to this year two in terms of being ready?
50 new bodies. That's very different. You know what I'm saying? As to the vibe, I mean, our kids, we encourage them to let their personalities out, and they're having a good time. They're enjoying each other, and they're working hard. There's leadership on this football team. Guys who have been here a year ago said that it feels different. I just think that they realize that there's been, some upgrades from a personnel standpoint that have taken place around the team, and but nothing's time tested yet, right? Nothing's time tested. Nothing. We haven't taken any of this new or new vibes to a game scenario yet, and that's the next piece.
And with all these new guys coming into the program, what have you done just as the head coach to try and get to know each and every one of them on a personal level?
Yeah, it's just what we do is we dig into their lives. We try to learn as much as we can outside of the building about each individual. We invest our time in talking to their support system, their family, their friends, things of that sort. Obviously we've been through an off season with a lot of them. Been through the spring with a lot of them. Been through fall camp now with a lot of them, and we do some team building things to try to, bridge the gap from, things that they may or may not know of each other, and that is important for each other to know. But it's going to be an ongoing process. I am excited about how they are pulling together, and the thing that I'm most excited about is that they understand that they don't have all the answers, and they do recognize that they're from different backgrounds and different values and things of that sort, but they understand that they need to pull together for this one team goal that we have. So, and they're all putting good effort forward to doing that. So I'm excited about that piece.
And earlier you talked about running back room. You expect to see two to three backs throughout the game. How many do you think, or just throughout the game in general, how many wide receivers and tight ends do you expect to use throughout the game this season?
This season?
Yeah.
That's a good question. We're going to use whoever we need to use to win ball games. You know what I mean? Whatever it takes. And a lot of injuries play into that, and I don't want to predict the injuries going to happen. But we do plan on playing with quite a few tight ends on the field this year, and we're going to mix that personnel grouping up with 11, where a lot of receivers are going to have to play, and so those two positions, we are continually trying to build the depth of who can go out and give us quality reps when their number is called. So I don't have an exact number, but we expect a lot of guys to play in those two positions.
Do you have any idea for Saturday how many?
We're gonna put tight ends on the field. We're gonna put receivers on the field. I don't go into the game okay, we gotta play this many. It's just we gotta make sure we put the right people on the field to help us win and execute the way we need to execute.
Okay, so Ian Stewart and Jordan Smith, both of them have this sort of long ramp up to contact and whatever. Are they right on time here?
We're
in
right
week
on
one?
time
And
with those guys. Yeah, we're right on time. Zach White and the position coaches did a great job of putting a pitch count, controlling their power loads, as they were coming off their little setbacks, and they're amped up and ready to go. Yep.
Did they have, like, how did, through this process, really a months and months long process for both of them, like, how do you sort of view their patience through it, or their...
No, they were
what they're
very
gonna do
impatient.
to it?
They were very impatient, very aggravated with their situation, and when you're dealing with competitors, you kind of expect that. We got to help coach them through that and make them continue to respect the process of whatever it is they're going through and respond the proper way, so that we can still get them back on track with the right mindset to chasing greatness. So, they were very agitated during that piece, and that's kind of a natural thing when you're competitive. But I do like the way they've responded, and just kind of press pause and embrace the process as it presented itself. And I think that's the maturity that we're starting to see in those two guys. That was unnecessary for them to get themselves back ready to play.
Will there be packages for Quincy, or could you line up somewhere other than quarterback, other than obviously just being?
Well, we got him on punt. He's on punt team, and he's a very versatile athlete. So we're going to use him, to his skill set for sure.
Do you know who's returning picks for this weekend?
We think we're going to start off with Sam on kickoff returns, and Ahmad for punt returns.
And you mentioned at the beginning of the offseason, there were certain checkpoints that the team needed to hit before week 1. Where are you on that timeline, and what are you focusing on this week heading into that game?
What we're focusing on is, pretty much just making sure that we put a good work of practice in tomorrow. And that's our checkpoint, is to have a great, tough Tuesday practice. Today was matchup day, where we introduced them to the schemes of what we feel that we're going to get from Akron. And, we talked about depth chart, we watch film, and we're studying our opponents and things of that sort. And, that's still in the process of getting checked. We still got some more of Monday to complete. And then, then we got to get locked into Tuesday. And it's got to be a one day at a time process for us. We can't get too outside ourselves. Classes start today, so there are some natural distractions that are taking place that, we expect these guys to operate at a high level in everything that is asked of them. So we're going to get ourselves into a routine, and I will hope to think that by the time we play Akron on Saturday, that we have found that routine and found a way to get into, to develop that edge within our routine where we can start cutting it loose on Saturday. That's what it's all about.
Like you said, it's day to day and game to game, but what season goals have you set for the program?
Well, it's nothing, we're still going to, championships are always on the docket for us. I mean, we can't stop talking about winning championships. That's going to always be the answer to that question. This is a standard that I believe that we can obtain at some point in time, for sure.
You lost like 3 games really late last year. That if you pull them out, you're going to a bowl game. Is that, how much was that? Is that addressed? Like how close you were to maybe?
This is something that I believe Temple deserves to be in bowl games. And I think our players do as well. And we talked about that. There was so much more that needed to grow and develop with last year's football team. So to sit there and put that as a disappointment because we didn't reach a bowl bid goal was not the case for last year's football team. We inherited something that we had to grow and enhance from, and that took its time and took its course. But no, we won championships, we won bowl games every year. That's what we want.
So Joe Moorhead's got probably 20 years of running offenses you can look back on, but they're like you, 50 plus new guys, maybe a different quarterback. So how does all, how when you're prepping these guys, how does all that figure into the prep?
Yeah, you just, you don't know a whole lot of the guys that they've, added onto their football team, and we're getting depth charts with names on them, and, guys coming from some Power 5 schools. I mean, I'm sure they're, going to be, amped up and ready to play Temple, but, for us, as much as we can, we'll do as much research as we can and try to find out as much about the individual players, but we're really locked in and focused onto the personality of the coordinators, the people who are going to call the game. The defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, the head football coach. We're just trying to really get a gauge on what their tendencies and their personality is, and we'll try to build a scheme that'll be, that'll fit what we have to defend against for sure.
Do you have a feel for, I mean, the Irons, the quarterback last year, played a ton, but then they bring in a kid from Virginia Tech who might be in the running for that job. Do you have a feel for those two guys, or if the kid who came in might be a little different and they would do different stuff?
I think, the kid from Virginia Tech brings a little bit more of an asset with his legs. He's a 6'4", 215-pound guy that can run. And so that's a guy that you're going to have to prepare for if they decide to, pull the trigger and he's the guy. Well, he does have the ability to extend plays and run the football pretty effectively with his legs. So we'll have to be prepared for that element for sure.
You have a number of freshmen on your offensive line too deep. What's your confidence level in them being able to go in there and produce?
Yeah, I think their confidence level is where it is, where it needs to be right now. They're feeling good about themselves. They've made a lot of improvement since they've been here, so they should be feeling pretty good about themselves at this point in time. And if their numbers call, that means that Coach Wiesenhan, absolutely believes in them. And if that's the case, they should not have a lack of confidence. And they are still developing, no doubt. And that's going to be a position, as always, right? They continue to get better as the year goes, and the more they play, the better they'll get. We'll have a system in place for how many guys play at that position. Obviously, we want to play with a lot more continuity this year than we had to, weren't allowed to a year ago just because of injuries and things of that sort. So we want to get 5 guys out there and playing and getting to know each other to the best of their ability, early and often.
If John Adams has a good week here, is he definitely in that mix to be playing on Saturday?
John Adams has had a really good camp. There's no doubt about it. I think he's earned the right to play. And I hope he feels as though he's earned it to play. But anytime you have a guy that's 6'1", 6'2", that can run the way he runs and put the production that he's been putting on most practices, then he should be getting himself ready to play.
Stan, are there any little things that you do differently in your routine, leading up to a game, that you did differently this year than you did last year?
That's a good question. I plan to. What do they say you release when you work out? Those stress hormones, whatever that is, right? I'm gonna try to do a little bit more of that. Try to, work out, come in, exercise, and stay in shape, and do my meditation, and I just need to be all the way right for everybody in the building. So that's gonna be something different. I think I walked in the building last year, and the priority was everybody else in the building. I forgot about me, and I didn't realize how wore down I was, toward the back end of the season. I just kept going, and when it was time to, take a break from football vacation, so to speak, I slept for 2 days and, didn't feel very good, so I got to do a better job to take care of myself. These players deserve a better me, so I have to do a better job of taking care of myself on the front end of my routine.
You didn't list a number 3 quarterback. Is that still to be determined?
Oh, you're good with these questions, man. Yeah, it's still to be determined. 2 days ago I could have told you, Brock. The day before I could have told you Keller. It's going back and forth. It really is. It's a good competition that's going on amongst those 2 kids, and but we're gonna need both of them to step it up. That could be a very critical, a la last year, right? EJ's a 3, and at some point he became a starter, and we just have to be ready for those scenarios at all times. Those guys have good intent about them too. It's just there hadn't been a whole lot of separation amongst the 2.
You have a feel of what is Akron? Their numbers aren't great defensively in terms of stopping people last year for the last several years, and tons of JUCOs came in there. They changed over a lot of personnel. What do you get a feel for that side?
Yeah, it's just that, right? You just don't know what you're gonna get yet. What are those JUCOs bringing to the table? Obviously they went that route because they needed it. he's probably got some of the same concerns that I have in regards to just trying to make sure that he's building some camaraderie amongst all the guys that he's bringing in. And, you know, sometimes camaraderie will have a direct effect on the performance, you know, and, you know, I just don't know where he is with that in his program. But we are looking at the names and the jersey numbers and the sizes and things of that sort. We're studying the system. And I think, you know, it's going to be a lot of learning on the run, just figuring out and be ready to midstream adjust for both teams come Saturday. You know, because there's still a lot of unknowns that way. But, yeah, we're just kind of locked into the personality of the defense coordinator and how he's going to call it. And, you know, we don't feel like there's going to be too much of a departure from what they've done in the past based on the type of personnel they brought in from the JUCOs. They kind of stay within the realm of who they are that way, and they're trying to build people around the system. So, you know, we'll see.
Any nerves from you or that you sense from Dante upon, you know, his first football game is coming up?
Yeah, you know, my man's he's got some ice running through his veins a little bit. You know, he really does. He's got a lot of confidence. You know, he's one of those guys too. Like, I don't know if I've said this before, but you know, he kind of plays spike ball. You know, pretty good. He plays a good game of checkers. He plays a good game of pool, good game of ping pong. He's just one of those gym rat guys. You know what I mean? That's just, you know, good at all the secondary stuff. So, you know, I just think that, you know, that's going to be a mindset that he has in everything that he does. I just think it's who he is. I mean, he just thinks he's going to be just fine. So I don't sense any nervousness coming out of him. So you know, that makes me feel pretty doggone good.
You know, considering the way EJ finished last year, I think a lot of people look and just figure he's going to just pick it right back up. That might not necessarily be a given, like,
Right.
or do you sense with EJ, like, it's pretty close to a given because of what he does?
I think EJ's at a point in his development where he should pick up exactly where he left off. I mean, he's been stacking really good days. He's enhanced his leadership capabilities amongst his team. You know, again, he's a study. He studies the game all the time. So I think the game should be a little slower for him in spots. You know, and I still think there's a ceiling there for him to develop and grow. You know, but I do think that we're picking up where we left off and not brand new for sure.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Sorry about